Thank you. Thank you very much. Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty.
Thank you. You're far too kind.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, welcome to another episode of Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. I'm your host, Manager Marty, and it is a pleasure to be here as always. Salute to everyone who's acknowledging me in the chat. Welcome. If this is your first time being a part of this broadcast, I appreciate you investing your time here. To those of you who are returning viewers, if you did not subscribe to the channel yet, I encourage you to do so. You can do so right now or at any time during the progressions of this live. If you already are a subscriber, I encourage you to click on that subscribe button. Again, if you haven't done so already, but only this time, click the bell icon so that you can receive notifications every time I publish content and every time I go live. To all of the Roll the Tape film crew members, welcome and salute to you. You know what we do every time we come on here, and I'm glad you're here with me. We're going to have a very interesting show. Not going to hold you up too long. We have a fight that's coming up tomorrow. What is this today? Yeah, tomorrow night. The main event, Teofimo Lopez against Jamaine Ortiz. And underneath that fight, on the undercard, or you can say co-main if you want, Keyshawn Davis. He is going to fight against a guy that has a lot of experiences. Yeah, a lot of experience. Jose Pedraza. Pretty good card. Thursday night card. ESPN. Let's talk about it. Let me do this now. We do this right now. Get this out the way real quick. Because I want to hear what you all have to say about this fight. Yeah. I want to hear what you all have to say about this fight. We're going to do our reaction to the weigh-in. And, of course, our breakdown of these two fights. And what happens next for the winner. Yes. Let's talk about it. Link is in the chat early on. We're going right in today. Not going to hold you too long today. We're going right in. Hold on. Let me see if I can pin it to the top real quick. You know how we do. Pin right to the top. Y'all know how we do. Salute to everybody. Acknowledging me in the chat. Link is definitely pinned to the top of the chat. All right. Trying to look something up real quick. Man, what's going on? Hopefully everybody had a good week so far, or is having a good week thus far. Trying to put this thing together. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, this is a pretty good card, though. I'm gonna start this off by saying that right now. It's a pretty good card. Pedraza, we know he's 29-5 with 14 knockouts. And that's a lot of experience. Having somebody with 34 professional fights, really he got a draw as well. So it's a total of 35 professional fights fighting against Keyshawn Davis, who's undefeated at 9 wins, no losses, and 6 of those wins coming by way of knockout. A lot of experience. I'm actually surprised, to be quite frank with you all. I'm surprised that the Athletic Commission approved this fight between Keyshawn Davis and Pedraza. And the only reason I say that is because typically, in boxing, we don't see a fighter who has 30 professional fights, against a fighter who has under 10 professional fights. Has it happened in boxing before? Absolutely. Has it happened with other fighters before? Absolutely. I'm just saying that it typically doesn't happen on a normal basis. Okay. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think that when you look at the experience level of a Pedraza and the experience level of Keyshawn, you have to put into effect the process of what commissions do all across the country of the United States when they're approving bouts that's presented to them by the promoters. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. So I'm glad that you are here today. One of the criteria that commissions use to approve a bout when promoters present it, when I mean presented, I mean present the bouts, present the bout sheets, present the list of bouts to be approved by the commission in the state that they are going to host the event at. One of the criteria that the commission will use is the amount of rounds that each fighter completed, okay, at the time that both fighters are going to fight each other, okay? This is one of the main reasons why, BoxRec, they include the amount of rounds that each fighter completes. All right, I'm gonna give you an example so that y'all can understand what I'm talking about, right? Let me pull it up real quick. All right? I'm giving y'all knowledge right now. Giving y'all how it works. So when we look at Keyshawn Davis, out of 9 professional fights, and of course 6 of those fights have come by way of knockout. He has 0 losses, of being undefeated. But when you look at the amount of rounds he's faced in total, according to BoxRec, 62 rounds. 62 rounds. This is what BoxRec have listed on here. Of course, he debuted in 2021. He's a great amateur, decorated amateur. I mean, his pedigree is awesome. Okay, I remember a time years ago, even before he became a pro, where his name was ringing bells in the amateur boxing scene. If you don't know this by now, you might be new to the channel, but if you don't know this by now, I have many years of experience as a USA Boxing judge, referee, timekeeper, clerk. We call them USA Boxing officials. Okay? Every person that you all see as a professional, and I am referring to people who compete like the boxers, right? I'm also talking about the people who are facilitating the field of play, such as the judges, professional referees, officials, okay, of course, the fighters, boxers, as you all know, um, timekeepers, right? All had to come through USA Boxing. Everybody. You give me a boxer's name, and I'm going to tell you, they all came through USA Boxing. All the judges, all the referees, right? They are officials. All the clerks, timekeepers, we all have come through that process of being certified and trained and experienced in the amateur boxing program all across this country of United States. I gotta keep saying United States because we have people all over the world that watch this channel. So back to my point, Keyshawn Davis' name has been ringing bells in boxing for a long time, particularly the amateur boxing program. I mean, even before he went to the Pan Ams, his name was ringing bells. Okay. Now, 62 rounds. Okay. 62 rounds is what BoxRec have listed for Keyshawn Davis. All right. You look at, let's pull up Jose Pedraza. Let's pull him up. Let's pull him up. Hold up, they ain't even pull my man. Hold on. Let's pull up how many rounds. Let's see how many rounds that BoxRec has listed for him. Salute to everybody that's acknowledging me in the chat. Let's see something real quick. All right, so according to BoxRec has it listed that Jose Pedraza have completed 270 rounds. So let's take that in and put this in proper context. So Keyshawn Davis, 62 professional rounds that he's completed, right, and competed in. And then Jose Pedraza, 270 rounds that he's completed and competed in. Okay? So what I'm saying is there's a disparity in experience. I'm not saying that every professional boxer has to have like the same amount of rounds in order for the commission to approve the bout. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the commission do the best that they can. And I mean the commission of all across the country of here in the United States. They do the best they can to make sure that the experience is not too wide of a gap because of the safety issue, right? All right. And making sure it's on an even playing field as much as possible. So when you see something like this happen, there's several reasons from a business perspective. There's several reasons, why we see these things happen. Trying to teach y'all the business of boxing. This is what you come here for. You ain't going to get this nowhere else. So I'm glad that you just tuned in as the viewership is increasing exponentially. Now, when you look at who the promoter is considering the A side in this fight between Keyshawn Davis and Jose Pedraza, you see where the promoter, okay, is leading the A side. Okay. Now you look at Pedraza. How old is Jose Pedraza? 35. He's 35 years old. 270 rounds of experience. He has 5 losses, right? So it's clearly evident that he's the B side in this fight. However, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to lay down for a young, more inexperienced Keyshawn Davis. All right. Let's just put that out there too. I'm not saying all this to say because he's 35 and he has 5 losses out of 30 something fights that he's going to lay down for Keyshawn Davis. I don't think Jose Pedraza is going to lay down for Keyshawn Davis. Okay. And I'm not making an excuse for Keyshawn Davis if he lose based on his inexperience. What I'm basically saying is that Jose Pedraza has a lot of experience. Professionally speaking, and of course you include his amateur background, that's a lot of experience. But he's going up against a young man who's hungry, who's undefeated, who knows how to talk, to sell tickets. He may not be a big ticket seller today, but I believe that Keyshawn Davis will be a world champion in the sport of boxing. He's very, very talented. I actually like how he conducts himself on camera. I also like the way he articulates. You know what I mean? I like when he talks trash too. All of those things are good components when you're being built up to be a superstar. All right. So if you look at the promotion of this card, you see that Keyshawn Davis is the A side. I mean, he's undefeated. If he can get past this veteran here, that's another feather in his cap. We know in boxing that there are times where the younger, hungry lions, most of them usually are undefeated, they have to go in there and prove themselves against the veterans. Some people try to say they're gatekeepers and all this, but I'm just saying that he's in a division that's ripe for him. Talking about Keyshawn Davis. Okay, so the advantages are leaning toward Keyshawn in this fight. And so if he can get past a guy who's 35 years old, a guy who has a lot of experience, but a guy who's coming to fight and win, see, that's the key. See, it's not just about a fighter's record. It's about the fighter's hunger, the fighter's determination, the fighter's team. All of those components exist. And I think a lot of that gets undermined here on YouTube when we talk about boxing as content creators. I'm talking about overall. Okay, so we have to include all of the elements and not just the records of the fighters. Okay, people say you only as good as your last fight. Well, that's inside the ring. What about how good you are outside of the ring? All of that has to be included. What about your performance outside of the ring? That counts for something. So we see here that Pedraza has an opportunity to win this fight. But we also see that the promotion is not leaning toward Pedraza winning this fight. It's not personal, it's business. See, Pedraza was the A side once in his career as well. So he understands what Keyshawn Davis is. You know what I mean? That's just the way the business is designed. Okay? And so I want to share something with you all because I want to give you all a glimpse of how the business of boxing is so that when you see fights materialize, you'll think about what I'm about to tell you so that you can basically paint a picture and understand when fights are on certain cards, right? It's a skill. It's an art to matchmaking and promoting fights in boxing. It's an art to it. It's not just, see, people always say, we want the best to fight the best. And I have to agree with you. Yes, the best should fight the best. But a lot of things have to occur as a prerequisite for the best to fight the best. So let me paint this picture for you so that when you see cards being announced, and I'm talking about boxing cards, not playing cards, boxing cards. When you see these boxing cards being announced, you'll understand the story behind the promotion. Okay? Now, think of boxing cards that are put together by promoters and matchmakers. Think of it like dinner in a movie. Remember, I told y'all before that when you're watching boxing, right? Let's just use a boxing card that's televised on television or streaming platform at this point, whether you use your phone, iPad, whatever electronic device you use to watch fights, right? That's the dinner. I'm talking about dinner and a movie. Hear me out. Outside the ring is the dinner, and inside the ring is the movie. You ain't gonna find this analogy nowhere else. I'm trying to teach you something now. Stay with me. So when cards are happening in boxing, at least this is how I perceive it. When cards are happening in boxing, and when I say cards, I mean boxing events, boxing shows that have the fighters in certain order, okay, on the actual card. Let's use a televised boxing event. Let's say this event right here. Let's say Keyshawn Davis versus Jose Pedraza, and the main Teofimo Lopez versus Jamaine Ortiz, right? Now, outside the ring, when the promoter and matchmakers are building the card, that's the dinner. What I mean by that is when you look on your electronic device and you're watching fights, think of going to dinner when they announce all of the fights that's going to be presented on this card and televised, or whether it's televised or not. I'm just using televised as an example, right? Think about dinner. Just think about dinner. And what I mean by dinner is if you go to a restaurant, right? You'll have your bread and water, you have your appetizer, then you have the main course, the full entree, right? Some of you who are my day one supporters, y'all recall me repeating this over and over and over again since I've been on YouTube to teach you how to look at boxing cards, yes, as a fan, but also as a spectator who understand what you're looking at, okay? So let's say 4-round fights, 6-round fights. That's the bread and water. Or if you're not watching it on your electronic device and you're actually there at the boxing event, you know what you're looking at, okay? So you got your bread and water, got your 4-round and your 6-round fights. That's the bread and water. Then you got the mid card. You got your 8-round, your 10-round fights. And I'm talking about in the 12-round main event on the card, all right? Just using this as a reference. It applies to 10-round main event fights as well. But I'm just using this as a reference because most casual boxing fans are accustomed to only hearing and seeing 12-round fights, okay? And then after you have your appetizer, which is your 8 and 10-round fights, then you got your main course. You got your entree. That's the 12-round fight, particularly the main event. Okay? So that's the dinner. That's what was being organized outside of the ring by the promoter and mainly the matchmaker. That's the dinner. Now, the movie is the actual fights on the card being performed inside of the ring. Okay? Every fight, hear me good. You ain't gonna hear this nowhere else. I'm glad y'all here tonight. You ain't gonna hear this nowhere else because they don't know. So I'm glad y'all gonna learn something today. So we got the dinner part. Now we got to attach the dinner to the movie. Once again, the dinner is the organization of the card outside the ring before the fight even happened, before the event even officially happened. That's your dinner. Then you got the movie. What's the movie? That's where the fights are being performed inside of the ring. Okay? Every fight tells a story. And every fight has an ending to the story. Every fight have a beginning, every fight have a middle, and every fight has an ending. Just like a movie. You just got to know what you're looking at when you're looking at the movie. When the fighters are performing inside of the ring, a movie's happening. Things are unfolding, scene by scene by scene. Okay? And we use the clock to manage when the scene begins and when the scene ends. All right? So think of all boxing cards, whether you're there live or whether you're watching it on your electronic device. Dinner and a movie. Okay? The movie is the promoter telling a message. The promoter has to send a message and tell a story because we want you as the fans to buy into the promotion. Not to just come to one fight by a promoter or watch one fight on a streaming platform by a promoter. No, to keep coming back over and over and over again. We just have different characters in this movie. Okay? So that's how I want you all to view boxing cards and boxing events. Why do I want you to do that? So that when you look at boxing, you know exactly what you're looking at. A dinner and a movie. Once again, if you're just joining us, stay with me. The dinner is the promoter and matchmaker organizing the card. All the fights that are going to be performed outside the ring before the event even occurs. Why do I call it a dinner? Because the card is going to be filled with the same procedures as you going into a restaurant to eat. You're going to have your bread and water brought to you first. And you're going to have your appetizer brought to you second. And then you're going to have the main course brought to you third. Okay? That's the dinner. 4 to 6 round fights are your bread and water. The appetizer, your 8 to 10 round fights. And then the main course is your 12 round fights, which is the main event. And sometimes you can have a co-main, 2 12 rounders. Okay? That's the dinner. Now, the movie is that card that was organized outside the ring will be performed inside the ring by the characters, the product, the professional boxers. And each round will always have a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Each round, look at each round as a scene of a movie. And something is unfolding in each fight. Now, some movies end quick now. You got a star of a movie like Deontay Wilder. You better make sure you have your popcorn already in your hand before that movie starts. Because it's likely for that movie to end early. You know what I mean? Then you got movies that go the whole entire length, like a Floyd Mayweather fight. He's still a star of the movie. And you're still being entertained as he's performing. But he's going to be in there from round 1 to round 12. You see what I'm saying? Mike Tyson, too. Thank you, whoever that was in the chat. And speaking of the chat, Double salute to all of the members of this channel, the supervisors of the Roll the Tape film crew who's here, Matthew Thomas, Two Cents Boxing, Andre Noble, I see you. And so that's the movie. Mike Tyson, you better make sure your popcorn ready too. I'm talking about the old Mike. Yeah, that's talking about the Mike before, talking about the Mike before he went in. Yeah, but before he went to jail. I'm talking about the old Mike. Double salute. Biz on the beat just pulled up to the building. I see him. He's walking in from the parking lot. Another member of the channel, supervisor of the Roll the Tape film crew. Yeah, Mike Tyson, man. He in his movies quick. It be like that sometimes. And so that's what I want you all to get out of these boxing matches that you see from now on. Dinner and a movie. And there's an art to putting all of this together. There's an art to this. Those promoters that's out there, those matchmakers that are out there, they are meticulous about what they're doing. There's a message that the promoter is trying to send. So it's not just a promoter just putting fights together to make money all over the place. No, there's a protocol. The fights have to be approved by the commission that the event is going to be hosted in, by that state. So if there's a show that's going to be in the state of Nevada, that commission have to approve the bouts that's going to be performed in that ring. That's why promoters who have great matchmakers are very successful in this business. That's why boxers who have good managers are very successful in this business. That's why boxers, fighters that have very good promoters are very successful in this business. You have to have the right team around you, but it's always a method to the madness of the promoter putting on a good show. It's not to entertain you just for that show and that's it. It's for them to entertain you for that show and you come right back to the next show. Okay? That's what this thing is all about. You ain't going to find this information nowhere else. And somebody can say, well, man, Jamarty, how do you know that? You said that you don't listen to the other content creators like that. So how do you know that? I know that because first and foremost, before I got here, nobody ain't saying none of this. I know that because they're not actively involved in the business. Now, that's not a shot at them not being actively involved in the business. What I'm saying is I'm just glad for you to be here so that I can teach and educate you. That's all I'm saying. You know, so think of dinner and a movie when you see these cards being produced. And then I know there's fights on some of these cards. You might say, why Tim Tszyu fighting Keith Thurman? Somebody asked me in the chat just not too long ago, how Lomachenko getting another shot at the title? You see, you don't understand what you're looking at. You don't understand why all of that's materializing. Okay? So I'm trying to break it down. Not saying that you're going to agree with every time it happens. But I'm just saying so that you can understand when you see it, there's a message that the promoter is sending. Okay? There's a movie that's going to unfold in the ring per fight. But it has to be organized properly so that when you go to the restaurant, and I'm talking about the boxing event, or when you watch it on your electronic device, you know exactly what you're anticipating. You know, they give you the bread and water first. They give you the bread and water first now. Then the appetizer come, and now you're fully prepared for the main course. All right? Two Cents Boxing asked a good question. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Let's talk about it for a second. I'll give y'all time to read that. Two Cents Boxing, she said, I know this off topic, but what is the obsession with PBC going out of business? It's ridiculous. Every day it's a new rumor. When will these people lose credibility that keep doing this? What happened, Two Cents Boxing? What happened? What happened? What's going on? I don't know what happened, Two Cents Boxing. So is somebody saying PBC going out of business again? Oh, okay, hold on. Oh my gosh, this dude, Rick Glaser, that's what's going on with him? I can't see his Twitters because, not his Twitters, his tweets. He blocked me. I showed y'all that a couple months ago. What was that, last month or something? I don't know. He blocked me. Yeah. So I can't see what he said, but yeah, Rick Glaser's talking about PBC losing fighters. They can't guarantee a Canelo purse, and Amazon don't have a budget for PBC. He know all this stuff about PBC, but yet we never heard him talk about his business dealings. That's why when he came over here, I asked him, since you know so much about PBC, why don't you go work with them? He said, I'll never work with. Yeah, he's just a hater. And we know what else that's about. We know what else that's about. But, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Rick Glaser is spreading all of these things about the PBC. You see, I told y'all before that PBC was going to find a home, a new network. When people would say, oh, Showtime going out of business, I heard content creators and Rick Glaser, oh, man, that's it. PBC, they ain't going to do no more fights. Blah, 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 blah. And then I already knew that was going to happen, that PBC was going to find a new home. Duh. That was the easiest thing. Anybody could have seen it. You didn't even have to understand the business of boxing to see that. So the thing about it is this. What difference does it make? Let me share this with y'all because I was thinking about this as well. Since when do boxing fans start talking about the business side of boxing? Salute. Another member of the channel is here. Supervisor of the Road to Take film crew, Mr. Pragmatic. Since when do boxing fans become interested in the business of boxing? Let me reframe that. Since when do boxing fans be concerned about the finances of boxers? That only started here on YouTube, right? That only started here on YouTube. Think about it. 90% of boxing fans don't understand the business of boxing, haven't been educated on the business of boxing, right? But yet, when we talk about fights, oh man, this person offered this person $2 million. Man, this person turned down $4 million. No, man. Look, man, he ain't gonna make a lot of money if he fight him. How do y'all know? When do boxing fans know the business of boxing? What I'm saying is Rick Glaser continues to get away with saying what he's saying about Al Heyman not having money. Amazon don't have a budget for PBC. boxing fans repeating what he said, content creators who never made a transaction in this business are talking money and finances, and they don't know what they're talking about, and they're spreading it to an audience, and now the audience who don't know what they're looking at when they see fights, they'll just repeat what they hear. That's what I'm really trying to say to 2 Cents Boxing's point. You have to understand how this business works. This is why I teach it to you. So as soon as news break, y'all say, oh, okay, I understand. Might not agree with Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman and Fundora being on the card and Erickson Lubin being on the card and Rolly fighting Pitbull. I don't agree with it, but guess what? Oh, I see what's going on. Oh, I understand what's happening. Okay? I'll give you an example. Ryan Garcia, right? He was chilling with Floyd Mayweather, a man who has a wealth of knowledge and experience in this game, in this business of boxing, right? And Floyd Mayweather was giving him some nuggets. This is all according to Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia said, Floyd Mayweather told me, this is what he said in recent interviews that he's done in the past week, past 2 weeks. This is what he said. I was chilling with Floyd in the mall. We were spending time. He's my friend. Floyd told me, fight Rolly Romero first, because that's for one of the 140-pound title defenses, right? Fight him first. Then after you fight him, you'll possibly win that fight. You'll be a champion at 140 pounds, and then you can go have more leverage when you sit at the table with Oscar De La Hoya as a 140-pound champion, and when y'all sit at the table with Eddie Hearn and Devin and Bill Haney, you'll have more leverage. Now the fight between you and Devin Haney turns quickly into a unification bout. And then you can generate more revenue. Well, there's people that took that, who don't understand the business of boxing, whether it be content creators or fans or both, took that, ran with it, and said, you know what? Floyd Mayweather sabotaged the fight between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Floyd Mayweather is the reason that Ryan Garcia ducked Devin Haney. Floyd Mayweather Sr. Tried to steal Ryan Garcia from De La Hoya. This is the stuff that is floating around. But if you think about, first of all, you got to listen. Got to listen to what Floyd told him. Then think about what he said. It makes more sense for someone in Ryan Garcia's position. Because think about it. If Ryan Garcia fight Devin Haney, and Devin Haney is the champion, you know what people are going to say, particularly Devin Haney fans? They're going to say Devin Haney is the A side in that fight, in the negotiations. That's what they're going to say. And then if Ryan Garcia and De La Hoya disagree and the fight don't materialize, you know what people are going to say? Oh, man, Ryan Garcia ducked Devin Haney. Instead of understanding the business. So watch this. So because Ryan Garcia and De La Hoya, you know they done talked to Rolly, right? Now let's listen to the interview that Rolly did. Let's listen to what Rolly said recently. I don't know who conducted the interview, but he was in the interview recently with Leonard Ellaby. And he said out of his mouth, yeah, we talking about him, Ryan, the representations, right? He said, but the money that I was offered by Golden Boy, it was low, too low. So I'm making way more fighting Pitbull Cruz than I am being offered to fight Ryan Garcia. And everybody in boxing who understands the business knows that Rolly Romero should make more money fighting a Ryan Garcia than he should Pitbull Cruz. But that's why it's good business for Rolly, because everything is in-house. And he said Al Heyman has been generous to him again and made sure he's going to get a big bag. Scratch that. A bigger bag. So when you hear Rick Glazer come back around with his rhetoric, and the people that are content creators that listen to Rick Glazer and get their information from him, they all sound foolish. I'm not here to demean those guys. I'm just saying they don't know the business. And so don't repeat the foolishness. Don't repeat it. Because the truth of the matter is this. Your favorite YouTuber in boxing come over here and listen to me. Yeah, you might not want to believe that, but that's the truth. Your favorite boxing channel on YouTube have come over here one time or another since I've been on YouTube, and they've gotten information from the business side of boxing from me. It's a fact. And I'm glad about it, because everybody need to get educated. It's not about me. I don't care about no accolades, and that's not important to me. What's important to me is you, the boxing fans, the audience, know what you're looking at when you're looking at fights. Know what you're hearing and why you're hearing it when fights are being announced. You see my point? And so you got to understand that the promoter is sending a message. The promoter's selling you something. The fighters are selling you something. This is why I tell all of the fighters, whether it be Tank Davis, because I heard him do it, whether it be Terrence Crawford, because I heard him do it, whether it be Errol Spence, because I heard him do it, whether it be Devin Haney, because I heard him do it, whether it be Adrian Broner, because I heard him do it, and the list goes on and on, about fighters demeaning and discrediting their opponent. No, you don't discredit your opponent. Why? Because what did I just tell you all? I said that a movie takes place inside the ring, but the dinner takes place outside the ring. So watch this. If you are expected to go to a dinner in a movie and you don't know how the food's going to taste, but you heard it tastes good, and you don't know how good the movie is or how great the ending is going to be, but you heard it was good, you'd be more inclined to pay to go to that dinner and that movie. But if you done been at this restaurant already and the food is not good, it's mediocre, the customer service there is poor, the cleanliness is inappropriate, the ambiance is not there, and then you go to a movie where you know how the movie's going to end, and you know some of the scenes of the movie is predictable. You're not going to want to go to that restaurant or that movie theater to eat dinner or watch that movie. Why am I bringing that up? This ties into my point so that y'all can know I'm bringing it back home of why I tell fighters to stop knocking your opponents down. Even if you're a fighter and you know you can beat the opponent. Don't tell the paying audience that who's going to come to the restaurant. Don't tell the paying audience that who's going to go to the movie. No. You build up your opponent. Make the audience, make the fighter, other fighter, feel like they got a chance. Because if you make that fighter feel like they have a chance, you have a better chance of selling it to the fan. Make the fan want to spend their hard-earned money to come to the restaurant and get that dinner and go to that movie theater and watch that movie. Make it unpredictable. Make it entertaining. Make it appealing. If you know how the fight's going to end, you ain't going to buy it. Oh, I already know this person's going. I know this person's going to knock this person out. This fight ain't going to go past 2 rounds. Now, it's good to say it about one fight. But if you're going, remember, I'm talking about the card now. I'm not talking about just one fight on the card. No, the whole card, the whole dinner, the whole movie. Every card that you see and all the fights that's on these cards, if you know how all of them going to end, you're not going to want to buy that movie. So that's what I'm bringing back around home. You've heard me say this before to fighters on this platform, even your favorite fighter. And I named a few of them. No, you build that, you build them up. Even if you know your opponent don't have no knockout power, you say it anyway. Hey man, look, I know his records say, or her records say, that he's 15-3 with 1 knockout. I know her records say that she's 15-3 with 1 knockout. But man, I'm gonna tell you something. Anything can happen in boxing. It only takes 2 pounds of pressure to knock somebody out. And I'm telling you, I'm prepared for this. I heard that she done knocked somebody out in sparring. Man, I heard through the grapevine, he knocked somebody down in sparring. You just selling the fight. You selling the dinner and the movie. That what you're doing? Yeah, sell it. Man, look, y'all can say that this fighter got 5 losses. Y'all can say Jose Pedraza got 5 losses on his record, but guess what? Out of 30-something fights, he got 29 wins. That's what Keyshawn Davis should be saying. Hey, everybody lose every now and then in boxing. You ain't gonna win every fight sometime, but he got 29 wins. This man is not no pushover. But if Keyshawn Davis get in there talking, man, he's 35 years old, he ain't got nothing for me. I'm just gonna go in there and dog walking. That's not gonna make you want to be appealed to buy that. You know what I mean? I gave you an example about Devin Haney doing it a couple of times. He did it to Regis in the face-off. Hey man, you 10 years older than me. I'm 25, you 35. You only got is a left hook and you flat-footed. If you say that, Devin, and you beat him, you ain't gonna get the credit. You know why? Because people are gonna say, Devin Haney, he beat another fighter who was flat-footed in their 30s. So you want to build the fighter up. You ain't got to go over the top with it, but build the fighter up. Give the confidence to the other fighter. Make it entertainment. Why? Because you're appealing to the paying audience that's going to come to the restaurant and eat the dinner and go to that movie and buy it. You see what I'm saying? Look at the blueprint Mayweather laid down as a professional in this business. And he said it himself. He said, the media builds up the fighter and I keep knocking them down. You see my point? He understood that he had to be the bad guy as a professional. Remember he fought Oscar De La Hoya? Oscar De La Hoya was the clean-cut, all-American pie fighter. I'm talking about the build-up of the fight, the promotion. Floyd Mayweather ain't coming in and say, well, this is going to be a good fight. You know, Oscar's a decorated amateur. Oscar's a promoter now. He's a good fighter. I'm a good fighter. And you know what? May the best man win. He didn't say that. Look at how he promotes the fights. Everybody and their mom knew that Conor McGregor was not a professional boxer. But guess what? Looking at the numbers, they sold that thing. They sold it. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie now. Look at the numbers. They sold it. Look at the numbers. Mayweather, De La Hoya. They sold it. Pacquiao, Mayweather. Sold it. You got to learn how to sell in this business as a fighter. But you won't be able to appeal to the audience if you selling the same old story that you're the best and greatest in the world and you can beat everybody and everybody's beneath you. Nobody going apparently there's truth to what you're saying, but we won't buy into it. You see my point? Look at how Floyd did Canelo. De La Hoya was smart. They kept putting Canelo on the undercards of Mayweather bouts. They knew eventually Mayweather was going to fight Canelo. They was going to come together and rumble. Of course, that's business. You know what I mean? Now watch how I bring this back, that this ain't nothing new in boxing. Y'all remember Jamaine Taylor? Y'all remember him, right? Jamaine Taylor fought Corey Spinks. Y'all remember that fight? Remember? Some of y'all might not even remember that. I'm going back a long time ago. He fought Corey Spinks. Jamaine Taylor did. Who was on the undercard of that fight? That whole card. Who was on the undercard? Kelly Pavlik. I believe he fought Edison Miranda, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong because I watched a lot of boxing. I think Edison Miranda and Kelly Pavlik fought on that undercard. Why did they put Kelly Pavlik on them two undercards of Jamaine? Because they knew eventually those two fighters were going to meet up. You see my point? Why do you think people, man, I bring this stuff around. Pay attention and learn from the professor. Pitbull crews keep being on the undercard of these pay-per-views. What message is the promoter sending? Remember, I told you. The promoter sending the message. They building him up. They building Eastside Cruz up. Eastside Cruz fought Gervonta Tank Davis on what, 3.5 weeks notice? A month notice? And just because you lose a fight, what I always teach y'all, just because a fighter lose a fight does not mean that they lose a fan. A fighter can lose a fight and win a fan. And ever since Eastside Cruz lost that fight against Tank Davis, he won a fan. And he's been put on the undercard of pay-per-view since. It's all how the design of the business of boxing is. It's all how it is. There's a message that the promoter is sending. It's an art to matchmaking fights. There's an art to building a card up. There's an art to appeal to you, the audience, me, the audience, all of us, the paying audience, to get you to come to this restaurant. And when you come, there's a procedure. There's a protocol. That's how this thing works. And watch this. Speaking of Jamaine Taylor versus Kelly Pavlik. People might not even know this. Go on YouTube. I don't know if they're going to show them in the camera, but go on YouTube and pull up Jamaine Taylor versus Kelly Pavlik. And you're going to see if they, I don't know if it's still on YouTube or not, but if it is, you're going to see Al Heyman sitting next to Lou DiBella. You don't know who Al Heyman is or what he looked like? Go over there and watch that fight. You don't know who Al Heyman is, what he looked like? The last time I saw, me personally, the last time I saw Al Heyman at a public boxing match was when he was sitting next to Floyd Mayweather when Andre Berto fought Victor Ortiz. Y'all remember that fight? They was supposed to fight again in the rematch because that was a great fight. But y'all know what happened, right? Andre Berto tested positive for nandrolone. Oh, okay. We already know that already. But my point is, though, Al Heyman was sitting right next to Floyd Mayweather. You know why? Because Andre Berto, I have to teach y'all something. Andre Berto was expected to win that fight. Why? Because eventually Berto was going to fight who? Mayweather. And he still fought Mayweather. That was later on, but that was the golden plan. Jermaine Taylor was designed to fight and win against Kelly Pavlik. I'm telling you the message the promoter was sending there. That was a joint promotion. Okay? HBO. So you have to know what you're looking at. Know what you're hearing when you hear it. That's why I'm teaching y'all this. And I got to say this because there's a new audience that just joined us. You ain't going to find this or hear this nowhere else. So I'm glad that you're here today. All right? Double salute to the newest member of the channel and newly promoted at the same time. Supervisor of the Roll the Tape film crew, my guy, Sent Ironheart. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel and officially a part of the Roll the Tape film crew. Okay, so that's how this thing works. Now, when we look at this fight with Keyshawn Davis and Jose Pedraza, Keyshawn Davis, all he has to do is stick to the game plan. Now, he said he's going to stand toe-to-toe with this guy. It's not necessary. Box the old head's head off. That's all you got to do, Keyshawn. That's my breakdown of this fight. I'll give a prediction tomorrow or Friday or whatever. No, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the fight. If I come back tomorrow, I'll give a prediction and whatever. Box his head off. Stick to the game plan. And if you got him hurt, be patient because he has a lot of experience. Okay? We don't know if he can hurt Keyshawn Davis or not. We don't know. All I know is that the young, hungry lion Keyshawn Davis, go in there and give him a boxing lesson. Dance circles around this older guy, this more experienced guy. Keep turning him. Keep turning him. You don't have anything to prove. He's a much experienced fighter. So some of the punches that Keyshawn might hurt other fighters with, he might not hurt Pedraza with. So don't go in looking straight for the knockout. Okay? That's my advice for the young, hungry lion Keyshawn Davis. He can make this win seamless. But he can also make this fight harder for himself. Because I believe Pedraza is not going to come and lay down for a paycheck. I just don't believe that. I think he's going to try to use his experience against the younger fighter. I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm not saying Keyshawn's going to win. I'll tell you all that tomorrow. Okay? Now let's get to Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez. He's fighting Jamaine Ortiz. Now, Jamaine Ortiz, he looked good in his fights. But I got to keep it all the way on it. Jamaine Ortiz, he don't have enough power, in my opinion, to keep Teofimo off of him. Or at least keep Teofimo honest enough to second guess throwing certain punches. So what Jamaine is going to have to do, Mr. Ortiz, he's going to have to go in there and continue to switch it. A lot of people don't give Ortiz credit for being a switch hitter. He can switch from orthodox, to southpaw. We've seen this when he fought another veteran, and Jamel Herring. I think that is Herring, right? Yeah. What I'm saying is switch hit on Loma. Keep switch hitting on him, especially staying in that southpaw position. Because you've seen with Sandora did. Sandora did a good job against Tio. That was a good fight. That was a good fight. You know, but use your experience. Because he's an amateur standout too now. So listen, switch hit on him. Stay more in the southpaw stance than the orthodox stance. Fire that left hand. Don't hesitate. Fire it. Because the thing about it is, you're gonna have to try your best to outbox Teofimo Lopez. Jamaine Ortiz is not the naturally bigger guy in this fight. I mean, I know he weighed in his last fight at 137. But before that, he's been fighting all 135-pound fights. So we know who have the weight advantage in this fight. So all Ortiz got to do, switch hit, be more in the southpaw stance, get back to your basic boxing fundamentals. Don't get in there trying to exchange blow for blow with Tio. That's not, that game plan is not going to work, young fella. Get in there and try to outbox Tio. Okay? Now, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, I recommend that Tio test that young man's chin. Test his body too. Because when you test his body and throw some shots to the body, Tio, you're gonna slow all that movement down that I'm telling Ortiz to have to outbox you. Slow him down. Make him stand in front of you. Apply that pressure on him like you do everybody else, Tio. And if you got the young man hurt, you know what to do. You got to close the show out in dramatic fashion if you can. But if you can't, and that's okay if you can't, Tio, you got to go in there and show him and the world that you're ready to take it to another level. Because you might be able to get a shot at Devin Haney after this. Who knows? You might get another rematch with Sandor Martin. I know that Sandor is the mandatory for Devin, but we don't know what's going to happen. Okay? So you got to go in there and show Ortiz that win over Josh Kelly, that was no fluke. And neither was the win against Sandor, even though that was controversial. All right? What I'm saying is, you do this, you selling it now. You talking it, now you got to go in there, you got to walk it. And I believe Tio can do it. That's my breakdown of this fight. It's very simple. But Tio got to stay on his game as far as the basic fundamentals of boxing too. Because Tio will get frustrated, then he starts swinging, trying to knock you out. No. Then he chase you instead of cutting the ring off. Get back to your basic fundamentals, Teofimo. But you got to have an effective body attack against this kid, this young man. Not kid, but y'all know this young man. Got to have an effective, slow him down. You know he don't have enough power to keep you off him. So he's going to go in there and try to outbox you, which he possibly can. Close that door when you close that distance. That's for Tio. Close that door when you close that distance. That's my breakdown of the fight. Anyone else? Told you I ain't gonna hold y'all long. You see that? And I want to end it. Can we stop talking about this whole ordeal with Tank Davis against Conor Benn, please? They're not in the same weight class. Can we just stop this? They're not fighting. They're not fighting. It's just simple. Everybody be trolling on social media. It's a possibility. So was Tank. Nobody's demanding Tank to fight no Conor Benn. Okay? Conor Benn is 147. Tank is 135. Why are y'all even feeding into it? Because people want something to talk about. Didn't I tell y'all last week that Shakur Stevenson is not retiring? Didn't I tell y'all that? I told y'all that. And with this Shakur Stevenson saying that interview that he did, was that a couple days ago I seen? I don't even know who to interview. I try to give people credit, whoever do the interviews. But this stuff be in my feeds, you know what I mean? And he said that he's still retired, but if the big fights come, or if he get the call, he coming out of retirement. That's not retirement. I told you that. Now, it's interesting to me, too, that I said that I believe that Shakur said that out of pure frustration. And it's a possibility that that frustration may have come from being mentally fatigued. This happens in boxing. But I did say that it's a possibility that he said he retired out of frustration because he said he's not FW with boxing. We know what FW stands for, right? So it's interesting that when I watched most of that interview, I heard Shakur Stevenson say, and everybody's saying I'm frustrated. Once again, I don't know if Shakur Stevenson saw my video of me saying that. He might not have been talking about me. But the point that I'm making is that if he's not retired, he just needs a break. And it happens. But 135 is a really good division. And it's been a good division for a few years now. And I say good meaning the competitive nature of all those fighters that are in the 135-pound division. So Shakur Stevenson, he's going to get them big fights. He got good representation in Jay Prince, his manager, and he has a good promoter in Bob Arum. And I have to say good because Bob Arum uses the best or one of the best matchmakers in the business. Brad Goodman. You ain't hear nobody else say his name but me. That's him, Hall of Famer. Hey, he helped a lot of top-ranked fighters get to the position that they in to look good. Even when the level of competition wasn't good. I told y'all before the promoter, what is the promoter doing? They selling you something because they sending a message. Jay Prince, somebody asked who else does Jay Prince work with? Jay Prince worked with several fighters. One in particular who's over there with Top Rank is Big Baby Jarrell Anderson. That's why you see him a lot on those ESPN cards. You know, he's with Top Rank as well. He's managed by Jay Prince. Yeah, so, hey. Yeah. But I will say this. Bob Arum did say in a recent interview that Shakur Stevenson is expected to be at the fight tomorrow evening. And while he's there at the event, Bob Arum said he will talk to Shakur Stevenson privately. So we don't know. But we know that Shakur Stevenson have a lot of boxing left in him. And I think he's going to do well in the business and the sport of boxing. And I already told y'all he is going to be unified world champion if he stays with this thing. Shakur is a very talented young man. He can fight. And it's a lot of work out there in 135. I mean, think about it. You got, what's his name? They about to fight Kambosos against Lomachenko, right? Hey, Shakur Stevenson come out of retirement and fight the winner of that fight. You see, the thing is, Lomachenko, he's a big ticket seller. That's why Bob Arum keep giving him the, he keep giving him the opportunities. It's business. He can sell tickets. Isak Cruz can sell tickets. Even Rolly Romero got a little ticket selling personality and put some things. This thing is business. It's all about selling tickets and putting butts in seats, as they say, right? It's all about selling tickets. The more tickets you're able to sell, the more opportunities you get. You might, even if you don't have the talent compared to the other people that's in your stable under their promotion banner. It's business. It's no different than Floyd Mayweather having to be in the shadow of De La Hoya when they both were signed to Top Rank. And Floyd Mayweather understood that later on in his career with Bob Arum. That's why he left. We know that Floyd Mayweather was more talented than Oscar De La Hoya on certain levels. Not saying that Oscar De La Hoya was not talented. That is not what I'm saying. Decorated amateur, good professional, really good fighter. What I'm saying is when Floyd was Pretty Boy Floyd, the offensive-minded Floyd Mayweather, he was more entertaining than De La Hoya. But De La Hoya was the cash cow. It's not personal. It's just business. So he got more of the opportunities to get those bigger names on his resume. Talking about De La Hoya compared to Floyd. So sometimes it ain't about how talented. It's about how marketable you are in this business. And if you have the talent and marketability, that's a great combination. And so, we're going to see. I would be surprised if Shakur Stevenson comes out of retirement real soon. Like I said, they can dangle that carrot in front of him and Jay Prince. Hey, whoever wins between Kambosos and Loma, you can get that fight next. And guess what? You know how bad you want to fight Loma, because Loma bring that money in. It's nothing personal. It's just business. Okay? No, it's not safe to say that. I'd have to disagree with that. I know people might believe that. And I'm talking about 2 Cents Boxing. Not putting her on the spot, but I just saw the last comment on my screen. Bob, he can market black fighters. Yes, he can. He has a history of doing it, and he has a history of being successful doing it. I do not believe that Bob Arum has an issue with promoting black fighters. Absolutely not. But yes, you're right, Dodge J. I'm probably the only content creator in the boxing community on YouTube that says Shakur Stevenson is not retired. When I say retired, I meant he just needs a break, little hiatus. We've seen this in boxing several times before, and it's okay. Even if it's not because he's frustrated, regardless of what the reason is, because only he and his team know. The point is that we want Shakur to come back, and he can come back, and I believe he will come back. But no, I give you one black fighter right now that Bob Arum has done a good job promoting. Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford. I'm going to use him as a classic example. Terrence Crawford did a good job promoting Terrence Crawford. Oh, yes, he did. He did a good job. Brad Goodman did a good job matchmaking for Terrence Crawford. That's not my opinion. That is a fact. Why do you think Terrence Crawford's resume looked the way it does? Why do you think Terrence Crawford looked as good as he did? You got to give credit to the matchmaker and the promoter when you see these things happen. Not just the fighter now. And the fighter has to perform inside the ring. But remember what I told y'all, then in the movie, you see the dinner got to be right for the movie to be more entertaining. I'm not here to down, but I'm just saying that let's keep it 100. You still got to sell tickets. So you can't put everything on a promoter now. You got to sell tickets in this business. You do as the fighter. You got to make an appeal to build your audience. No different than a content creator on YouTube. You have to do that as a fighter. And there's incentives when you do that. So, I mean, we can point out, but see, I know the business of boxing. So my perspective may be different from yours. Okay. And I'm not here to convince nobody. We all have our opinions, and that's why we do our Town Watch check-in. And I love to hear other opinions and perspectives, and I welcome them all. But Top Rank did a wonderful job with Terrence. If they did a poor job with Terrence Crawford, you wouldn't even hear nobody talk about Terrence Crawford getting the opportunity to fight Errol Spence 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. You wouldn't have. But because good promotion and good matchmaking put Crawford in a position for everybody to say, oh, man, that'll be a good fight with him and Spence. And I have to bring this up, and I hate to do it in this regard, but I'm going to keep it 100. That's one of the reasons why Terrence Crawford got on the phone and called Victor Conti. You see? Because, see, the promotion took you as far as they could. And I told y'all before, I'll leave you all with this. The promoter, Top Rank, and the promoter, I'm using the banner PBC, they have two different approaches when they promote fighters. And I shared this before, and I want to say it right now because it's relevant. When Top Rank promote their fighters, right? I told you this before, right? They prepare the fighters to compete at a high level, and they reach the ceiling so that they can compete to contend for the title. But then PBC, when they promote, they prepare you as a fighter to fight in contention. So what I'm saying is Top Rank protected Crawford as he was going up in the rankings, particularly at 147, to prepare him to fight, let's say, a champion like Errol Spence. But PBC, when they promote to prepare you from the beginning and not protect you. That's why, listen to what Adrian Broner said. Adrian Broner said, you're going to get paid when you fight over at PBC, but you're going to have to fight Godzilla. Yeah, you got to show me what you're made of. You're going to have to fight him. Tough fights. Hey, we all in the same stable. You can fight. Yeah, tough fights. Over at Top Rank, you see how the resume of Crawford looked. I'm just using that as an example so y'all can understand the business. You see what I'm saying? Hold on 1 second, y'all, all right? Thank y'all for your patience. Yeah, so that's why. Um, that's basically what I'm saying. You know what I mean? That's what. Hey, listen, I told y'all there's a message that the promoter is sending. Remember, there's a message. All you got to do is look at the fights that they're promoting. They're sending a message. Okay. That's you know sending a message. So this is what we got to understand. Look at the resumes of the fighters over at Top Rank. You'll see what I'm talking about. I just use Terrence Crawford as an example. I mean, we got to keep it all the way 100. The promoter is not investing money and resources to build up a fighter to be the A side under their promotional banner for them to lose. Their job is to protect the interests of their company, their bottom line, and their fighter or fighters. They have multiple fighters. It's just that simple. It's just good business. I want in, if somebody can tell me this in the chat, you understand what I'm saying. Can someone tell me? Let's just keep it at the welterweight division, 147, while Terrence Crawford was with Top Rank. What fight did you believe? You don't have to be a fan of Crawford. I'm talking to a fan of boxing, okay? You can be a fan of Crawford too, but I'm just saying this question is posed to fans of boxing. What fight in the 147-pound division that once you heard it was announced between Terrence Crawford and this opponent, you believe that the opponent was going to beat Crawford? Okay, let me reframe it. Maybe I should condense it because I think I did use too many words. So that was my apologies. Let me reframe it. Terrence Crawford fought, I think, 6 or 7 fights in the welterweight division under Top Rank. What fight, when he was with Top Rank, what fight did you say as a boxing fan when you heard that the fight was announced between Terrence Crawford and this other fighter that you believe, man, Terrence Crawford might lose this fight? Just give me one fight. We don't need to be here all night. Just one fighter. What? Just one opponent. Just one. 2 people answered. Can I get some more engagement real quick in the chat? Can I get some more engagement in the chat? Okay. I see. So there you have it. Either a slim chance or 0. Even a Crawford fan that's in the chat says 0. Okay, then. That's the point that I'm making. I appreciate all of your participation in the chat. That's correct. None. None. There's not one fight in the welterweight division when Terrence Crawford was under the banner of Top Rank that made you, as a boxing fan, say, it's a possibility he might lose this fight. So that goes to credit the great Hall of Famer, Brad Goodman. And I have to give credit to Bob Arum. Brad Goodman, the matchmaker. It's business. It's not personal. So if that is the case, my gosh, I got to spin this back around and take my glasses off. So if y'all saying 0 fighters, meaning there were no fighters, none, it made you think that Terrence Crawford was going to lose when they fought him, while he was with Top Rank, then you're equally, in essence, agreeing with me that there's not one fight that he had that prepared them for Errol Spence, who was multi world champion, undisputed. So in essence, if you're saying that, then you're definitely equally agreeing with me. That's why he got on the phone and called Victor Conti. Yeah, Victor, I need my performance enhanced. Yeah, because I saw an advertisement that said this on Manager Marty's screen right now. Yeah, it said that Snack offer products that improve your level of fitness, help lose fat, build muscle, and enhance performance. See? So I have to give credit, me knowing the business of boxing. I have to give credit where it is due. Bob Arum and Top Rank did a good job promoting Terrence Crawford. Absolutely. Hey, because if he looked that good with all of the C level opponents that he fought under Top Rank, he wouldn't need any enhancement if they weren't C level opponents. We know that Errol Spence is not a C level opponent. We just know that. All of us know that. That's not an opinion. I'm not opining. That's a fact. We know that. So Errol Spence was Terrence Crawford's toughest challenge. Just like we can say that Terrence Crawford was Errol Spence's toughest challenge. You see? So if he's that much skilled than Errol Spence, and I'm not saying he isn't, why did he get on the phone and call Victor Conti? See, you see how I keep bringing that question all the way back around? It's because good promotion protected him where PBC fighters are prepared. That's the difference in business models. That's all it is. Any questions? I hope you all learned something that you did not know about the business and the sport of boxing before you came here today. I'm certain that at least one person has, and if that one person has, y'all know Manager Marty is satisfied. It only takes one. So, uh, hey, this what this is all about. Before I end, I want to end on the first and only super chat of the evening. Double salute to Gregory Quarterbaum. Thank you for your support and your contribution to the channel, Mr. Greg. Mr. Greg says, Top Rank did not have any of the top welterweights, but no one had a welterweight who could beat Bud, even without the top opponents. Thank you for your insight and your assessment, Mr. Greg. Now, I would have to agree with you now. When you said that there weren't top opponents over at Top Rank, that's what you said. Top Rank didn't have any top welterweights, right? I got to show my face on this one, Mr. Greg. And I'm going to leave your super chat up there. I need the people to see me when I say this part. Hold on. Mr. Greg, I know you're a Crawford fan, and I have to agree with you. Let me put my glasses on so I can hear what people were saying in the chat. Good answer. Good super chat. Top Rank did not have any of the top welterweights. I'd have to agree. But guess who did, Mr. Greg? Guess who did, Terrence Crawford fans? Top Rank didn't have any of the top welterweights. I agree. Oh, but someone else did have the top welterweights. Oh, yeah. PBC did, Mr. Greg. PBC did. PBC had all the top welterweights. Yeah, all the top welterweights at PBC, they all were champions. You know, Danny Garcia was a world champion. Keith Thurman, he was a world champion. Manny Pacquiao, he even came over and got him a belt. He was a world champion, and of course, you know, Errol Spence. You know he of course, we know he was a world champion. He did that, you know, 3 times, 3 different belts. Sean Porter was a world champion. You know, I mean, Bud Crawford did fight Sean Porter, but Sean Porter didn't have no belt. Yes, Sean Porter. So all the top welterweights was over at PBC. And I'm talking about at the time, they all had belts. But, you know, Top Rank didn't. That wasn't good business back then. I'm just keeping it all the way 100. We wouldn't be talking about Bud Crawford. If Crawford would have fought all 4 or 5 of those fighters back to back, there's a possibility he'd lose to at least one of those guys. These are top welterweight world champions. That's why they all fought each other. You're going to lose to good fighters. They could have had a possibility of losing to Bud. He's a good fighter. But I'm just saying, you're right. Top Rank didn't have any of the top welterweights, but PBC did. Just wanted to notate that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, that's what happened. Yeah. Well, hey, there's another top welterweight now. If Bud want to stay at welterweight, you know, there's Jerron Boots Ennis. Now, I told y'all if I was managing Crawford, I would advise him not to do that. Me personally, looking at it from the business perspective, but hey, you know, just my observation, you know. But, you know, everybody's entitled, you know. But I'm glad we had this live this evening. Hey, we got to come back here tomorrow. We have to come back here tomorrow. We have to give our prediction for the fight between Teofimo Lopez and Jamaine Ortiz. We have to get together so we can give our prediction on Keyshawn Davis against Jose Pedraza. And we have to talk more about this Tyson Fury ordeal that delayed the fight with Usyk. I didn't want to bring all of that up and conflate that with Tio's fight, but we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to see. And I would love to open a panel up tomorrow to get all of your perspective on these 2 fights, Keyshawn Davis fight and Teofimo Lopez. And guess what? We want to talk about if both of them win, what happens next? Where do they go from here after they win. One more super chat before we go. Thank you again. Double salute to Mr. Greg. He says he would not have lost to any of them. He's referring to the fighters that I mentioned that was in the top welterweight rankings over at PBC when they all were champions at one point in time. And of course, that's subjective. He probably would not have lost to any of those guys. I don't think it would have been as easy as him fighting the other 6 or 7 opponents he fought in the welterweight division over at Top Rank. But you may have a good point there. So, oh yeah. So join me back again tomorrow, live in living color. Y'all know what we got to do. We got to come right back here. 4:45 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk some more boxing. I really hope y'all learned something about the business of boxing tonight. I gave so many different illustrations so that everybody, doesn't matter what level of knowledge you're on in the sport of boxing as a fan, I hope that everyone was able to learn something about the business and the sport of boxing that you did not know before you came here tonight. I see people in the chat asking me about no steroids talk today. We don't talk about that stuff all the time. We did start a trend over here that made people start talking about it all the time after they came over here. But hey, sometimes the topic is on one thing and people come up here and they bring it up. And that's how we keep talking about it. But hey, you know what we do. You know what time it is when you come here. It's all about learning. I got to pull out the same way I poured in with the hottest intro on YouTube in the boxing community. So come on back tomorrow. Get your super chats ready when you come back. Support the channel. Like and subscribe and share the content as much as you can. We know that YouTube is shadow banning this channel. It's no secret at this point. And I need all of your support. And I appreciate your time. You know I got to give y'all my 3 words when I roll out. Don't take my word for it. Roll the tape.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty.
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you.